Hello. You know, lilies just aren't for growing outdoors. They can be grown indoors or in the house and bloom during the middle of winter. Hi, I'm Ken, owner of lilyflowerstore.com. This is an Asian I planted up about 2 weeks ago. It's called Lollipop. It's been growing under just common household lights for about 4 hours a day. It's doing pretty well, don't you think? Throughout the course of this video, we're going to be following Lollipop's progress as well as the other bulbs that we're going to plant. We're going to do different varieties. We're going to do different sizes of pots. And I'll also show you the kind of potting mix I like to use. Plus, we're going to cover some different lighting techniques. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I hope you enjoy the video. It's going to be really exciting watching these lilies grow and mature into flowering plants inside the house. So thank you for watching, and let's get started. Okay, moving right along. First question you might want to ask yourself is, what kind of pot do I use? How big? How small? Well, it doesn't really matter as long as it's deep enough and waterproof and it has adequate drainage. Okay? We're going to be using plastic and terracotta pots throughout this video. And the first one that we're going to use is an azalea pot. Okay? It's 8 inches through and 6 inches deep. Awesome drain holes. Look at that. That is perfect. Okay? Yeah! Next one is called an oversized annual pot. And it is 6 inches through and 4.5 inches deep. Again, very good drainage. Next one is a 4-inch top and 5.5 inches deep. Again, very good drainage. Okay. The reason that the plastic has more drainage holes in it than the terracotta pot is garden centers just water the heck out of these plants in these plastic pots. So they've got to have enough drainage so that the plant doesn't rot. Okay? The terracotta pot will usually have one hole in the center because normally indoors people don't water as much as say a plant in a plastic pot in a garden center. Okay? So this is one of the terracotta pots we're going to be using. It's 8 inches across and 4.5 inches deep. Again, very adequate drain hole. It's about 1 inch in diameter. 1 inch in diameter. Okay, you might see these in box stores or even grocery stores that sell plants from time to time. They usually have daffodils or tulips in them. Okay, this is my favorite terracotta pot to grow lilies indoors. It's a 6-inch top and a 5.5 inch deep from top to bottom. Again, very adequate drainage. All right, let's see if you can see that. It's probably a 1/2 inch hole. Adequate, very adequate. The next terracotta pot we're going to be using is a 6-inch. Okay, 6 inch across the top and 4 inches down through the 4 inches deep. All right. Again, very adequate drainage. It's probably a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch hole in the center. Now the thing about the terracotta pot is you want to watch your watering because they are made out of clay. Okay, And every time you water, the clay will absorb that water and keep the soil more moist than, say, a plastic pot. Okay? But my favorite, they're inexpensive, and the color will usually fit in with just about any decor. Okay? Next pot we're going to use in this video might be a little large for your indoor use, but you can decide on that. It's 24 inches long, made out of plastic, 6 inches through the top, and 6 inches deep. Now this only has 2 drain holes in it, which is not adequate. Okay, you'll want to drill 3 more holes in this. I would do one in between these 2 holes, one towards the sides on each end. Okay, very easy to do, but you can use this indoors or outdoors just the way it is. Just watch your watering. And this has its own water retention tray. Okay, so you don't get your rug or your table or anything else messed up every time you water. Now I couldn't find my terracotta pot water retention tray, so I went down to Dollar Tree and purchased 20 of these plastic plates, picnic plates, for $1. So that's what I'll be using. Okay, the plastic pots that you purchase, you know, at a garden center or maybe even some of the box stores, won't have a water retention, but some do. Okay, but you'll need that so you don't get your table or your rug all messed up when you water. Okay, so let's move on to the next step. We're going to choose the right size lily bulb. Okay, we're ready to select our bulb and bulb size. We're going to be using 3 different varieties: Asiatic, Oriental, and Orient Pet. Typically you want to stay with the size of a golf ball. That's 12 centimeters. Okay, and here's the bulb. Sorry about the dirt, I couldn't get it all off. 12 centimeters. If you go any smaller, you may not get the desired bloom out of the bulb that you use. We're also going to plant multiple bulbs in a single pot. That'll give us some different color variations, and we're also going to do single bulb in single pot. Oh, I almost forgot. I found some pots outside this morning. This is an imitation terracotta pot. It's plastic. It's 8 inches through the top and 7 inches deep. I also took down a hanging basket pot. Took the hangers off, of course. It's 8 inches through the top and 5 inches deep, 5.5 inches deep. Now I know everybody has these hanging around, excuse the pun, so it's a good use of these in the winter to force bulbs to bloom indoors. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is prepare the bulb for planting, and we're going to trim the roots off. We want about 1.5 inches long root because we're going to plant these a little shallower to get them to bloom quicker, and we don't want any roots turned up, okay, and drying out. That'll make the bulb not produce as fast. It won't hurt it, but just won't produce as fast. So we want about 1.5 inches. Okay, that's 1.5 inches right there, and we just cut it with a pair of scissors. And then this one that's going to the side, we're going to cut him back. You don't want to go any shorter because the bulb won't bloom as quick. It'll force itself to make new roots and you won't get your bloom as fast. Okay? So that's about it. What do you say we get started planting? Before we get started potting up our lily bulbs, I want to show you what the potting mix looks like. It's a custom blend, but I'll give you the ingredients. It's 50% mulch, 25% cocoa fiber, 20% peat moss, and 5% perlite with my Power Grow spring bulb fertilizer, 14-month fertilizer food in it. There's the potting mix we're going to be using. It's nice and dark, as you can see. I'll zoom in here, let you get a nicer shot. A lot of perlite for air circulation when the bulbs are planted in the pots. Okay. There's one thing I wanted to show you before we started planting. I always like to put some rock in the base of the pot. It gives a little better drainage, and I'm using white decorated rock so it'd be easier for you to see. And I'm using maybe a cup to two cups. It depends on the size of your pot, but I like to use about a cup. Okay, I'll zoom in here a little closer. Okay, we're going to start potting up. Woohoo! This is going to be exciting. The one thing that I do before I start potting is I pre-moisten my potting mix, and I get it nice and damp. I don't want to squeeze it and see water come out of it. Okay, no water, that's good. If you can grasp it and squeeze it in your fist with no water coming out, don't be alarmed if it sticks together, because if it's moistened right, it'll gently just fall apart when you touch it. Okay? So that's a little tip. Alright, so let's get some potting mix. We're going to start with our imitation terracotta pot that I found outside the other morning. Pack it a little bit as we go. Okay, and there you go. About 1.5 inches to 2 inches down. I got a little too much in there, so we're going to take some out. Okay, hope you all can see that. I'm kind of losing my light. Alright, now we're going to do 3 bulbs in this one. I'm going to, of course, make sure the roots are facing down. Okay, we're going to place one about 6 o'clock, or I guess it'd be noon to you, around 8 o'clock and 4 o'clock, about 2 inches apart, or excuse me, 3 to 4 inches apart. Okay, about like that. Darn light. There we go. Okay, and making sure that you're still upright, we'll cover them up. Pack it down just a bit and leave a little bit at the top for your overflow water, should you have any, so it doesn't get your rug or table all messed up, about like that. Okay. Now we're going to do the another terracotta pot. It's the one that you usually see tulips and daffodils in the grocery stores and such. Pack a little bit. Now this one's a little shallower, so, but we're still going to go down about 1.5 inches to place our bulbs in. Again, 12 centimeters or 10, either one will work. These happen to be about 10. Okay, about like that. See if I can tip this down so you get better light without tipping the bulbs over. Hope y'all can see that. I'm losing my light. Okay, and we'll cover them up. Again, leaving some near the top. A little space at the top for overflow water. Okay, you can always add more soil to it if because or potting mix, it will settle a bit. Okay, now we're going to do my favorite. Okay, this is about 5 inches through and 4.5 inches across. Oop, I almost got too much in there. Okay, now this one I'm just going to do a single bulb. All right, it's 12 centimeters. Just don't have enough room. Unless you want to experiment and try some real small bulbs like a 5 or 6 centimeter. Pack it down just a bit. Make sure we have enough space for the water overflow there, if any. Okay, that's it. So I'll go ahead and pot up the rest of these and display them out under the, we're going to stick grow lights under these for a while and until they get up and going. So that's our next phase or step. Okay. Okay, we've got our bulbs all potted up, the grow lights ready to go. I moved everything over to the kitchen window because it gets about 4 hours of sunlight a day. This grow light is just a common shop light. You can find it at any hardware store or major box store. And I've got about, with the hardware, the light, and the bulbs, which you have to purchase separately, I've got right around $32 just in the light there, which is pretty inexpensive. It's mounted with just a screw-in eye bolt right in the top, and you want to make sure that this thing is adjustable. I will eventually raise this up, but I wanted to let you get a full picture of how it looks. I've got 3 feet of decorative chain on it, white chain that I bought at the same box store. The stand is one of my bird feeder stands. It's mounted on 4 2x6s and a 4x4 with a 2x4 running across the top. You don't have to go with a 2x4 across the top or 4x4s. I've done it with 2x4s as the main frame of the stand, and then a 1x4 across the top. The light that we're going to be using are the bright sunlight fluorescent bulbs. You can use just a standard fluorescent shop light bulb or a soft bulb. They work quite well, but for this particular application we're going to be using the bright sunlight. It works best for this. Okay, so there we have Lollipop. She's about almost a foot tall now. And we've got some Asians, some Orient pets, and Orientals planted in the pots, of course. So I'm going to set up the camera now for time lapse so we can follow the progress throughout this next 30 to 60 days. This is going to be exciting, so let's get started with that. Okay, here we go.